Tarak Brahm Shri Anand Murti ji has said, कर्मणा बद्धते जीव विद्या तु प्रमुच्यते। मतलब कर्मों से जीवन बन जाता है लेकिन विद्या यानी आत्मज्ञान से मुक्त हो जाता है। People bound by karma are liberated by self knowledge. When people work without applying knowledge, they become entrapped in the bondages of action and finally end up in a state of crudity. So, when someone is working continuously like a machine without any support of intellect, it should be understood that that mechanical action is the expression of crude force. Tarak Brahm Shri Anand Murti ji has said in Sanskrit, Vidya tu pramuchyate, which means knowledge leads to liberation. He said that read as much as you can, cultivate the faculty of knowledge, and accept only those things which are worthy of acceptance after rational thinking. The mind discharges two main functions: thinking and recollecting. So people generally do not want to utilize their mental faculties, and perception, inference, and authority are the valid source of knowledge. It's very important to understand. People generally ignore inference. They are chiefly concerned with perception and authority. So as they do not cultivate much the habit of thinking and recollecting, oftentimes they tend to give more weightage to the authority than to perception. Tarak Brahm Shri Anand Murti ji has said that perception, inference, and authority are the valid sources of knowledge. So people, generally ignore inference, and they are mainly concerned with perception and authority. What is anger? Anger in Sanskrit is said to be krodh. So this anger, whatever the reason may be, it creates its own vibrations in the mind, and it exerts a tremendous influence on the nerve cell in a very short time, and it causes disarray in thinking process, and the restlessness of the nerve cells causes a violent vibrational agitation in the nerve fibers, and as a result the whole body starts trembling, and the flow of blood to some parts of the body increases, and the functioning of the heart is disturbed. So there is a tremendous deterioration of health. Such a person is easily defeated in any fight. Anger leads to premature death. And that's not all. During anger, the power of one's thinking is impaired. Even long after the anger subsides, the state continues, and constant brooding of mind disturbs one's spiritual sadhana. As we all know that during anger the power of one's thinking is impaired. So we see that vritti is propensity of anger harms the body and stuns the mind, and it creates obstacles for spiritual progress. So Shiva, the great yogi, was well aware of this fact, and thus he clearly stated that krodha eva mahan shatru, means anger is a great enemy. Well, it's very important to understand that greed is the root cause of all sins. Do you know why people lie? There are only two reasons for lying. First is personal interest, and second is ingrained habit. So, this universe is embedded in Satya. You see, animals, they don't tell lies, and they do not cherish untruth in their minds. Plants, they do not cherish falsehood in their minds. Human children also, they don't tell lie. And even those whom we declare to be undeveloped people do not speak or think falsehoods. So, what kind of people lie? Only so called advanced people tell lies out of personal interest or ingrained habit. But those who are committed to dharma are definitely lovers of Satya, like the so called undeveloped people, and they are much more than that also. It's very important to understand that the multidimensional growth and expression of dharma stands on the strong foundation of Satya. Dharma cannot remain with those who do not follow Satya. And a person who tells lies out of personal interest is certainly inferior to birds and animals, and even inferior to plants. And if anybody who is in habit of lying and that person wants to give up this habit, to bring about an improvement in one's habits, prolonged efforts are necessary. It is said that in the physical world, falsehood is the nominal cause of all phenomenal crimes. So it is very important to understand that if one is not sufficiently wedded to Satya, Dharma will never remain with that person. So Shiva says, where there is no Satya, there is no Dharma. Do you know that anything that sustains the existence of plants, animals, humans, and all living and non living entities is Dharma? Over here, Dharma doesn't mean any religion, it means the quintessence of one's very existence, the very essence of Manav Dharma, human Dharma. It lies in three factors, and the fourth factor, which is the resultant of the first three. First is Vistara, the principle of expansion. Second, Rasa, the principle of total surrender to Parama Purusha. Third is Seva, selfless service to Parama Purusha and his creation. And fourth is Tadasthiti, and that is the final encompassment in Parama Purusha. I want to tell you something very interesting about sadhana. See, Vistar, Rasa, and Seva. These three come within the scope of sadhana, and the goal of this sadhana is the fourth factor, the resultant of all these three. As I've earlier told you, that Vistara is the principle of the expansion, Rasa is the principle of total surrender to Param Purusha, and Seva is selfless service to Param Purusha and his creation. Fourth is Tadasthiti, and the final encompassment in Param Purusha. So it is very important to remember and understand that Manav Dharma is the combination of all four factors, and this Dharma is the greatest friend of human beings. So one can sacrifice anything for the sake of this Dharma. For this Dharma, no hardship is too great. Therefore, this Dharma is called Bhagavata Dharma. So I think now it's clear what is the meaning of Bhagavata Dharma. Shiva's observation is that one who protects dharma is protected by dharma, and dharma saves the dharmika, I mean the upholder of dharma, in material sphere, in the subtle sphere, and in the casual sphere. When dharma saves people in material sphere, they experience it before their very eyes, they hear it with their ears, they feel it with the tenderness of touch. When dharma helps them in the casual sphere, they experience it by loving Parama with all the sweetness of their hearts. This feeling has no external expression. When Dharma saves people in the subtle sphere, they experience it through the deep reflection.